Hello everybody. I hope you're all well. And welcome to HY Dyslexia live show titled All Things Dyslexia. On this platform, we talk about everything to do with dyslexia. It could be going back to university. It could be generation dyslexic. It can be dyslexia and self-esteem. No matter what the topic is, we are here to cover whatever that issue might be. Hence, why it's called All Things Dyslexia. Welcome to our live show. We want to welcome you no matter where you're watching from today. If you thank you for joining us, first of all. Do drop a comment. Tell us how you feel or whatever message that you may have. Today's topic is so amazing. Someone said to me, I keep on using the same word phenomenal, but it is phenomenal. And today's show is going to be amazing. We have the lovely, amazing, wonderful Keisha Swaby, who is dyslexic and dyspraxic. So today's topic is about those two conditions and her experience of going back to university and how her life was completely changed for the better. Keisha will be joining us in any second, and she will be talking about her journey as a dyspraxic dyslexic and how it's been for her, or how it was for her at university. Keisha graduated with a first class degree, and that's really something that is such an amazing thing to celebrate. We're so proud of her. There's another dyslexic who's doing amazing work and have done really well for herself. So before I introduce Keisha onto the show, I'm going to read a little bit about her biography before I do that. So Keisha is a radio diamond presenter based in Manchester. She's dyslexic. She's a speaker, a motivational speaker, as well as an inspirational dyslexic speaker. And she's executive team of the JPAP and Jamaican Inspired Proud Dyslexic. And JPAP, I don't know what it stands for, but when she comes on, I'll ask her what that means exactly. So she's a wife, a mother of 4 children. She's an inspirational speaker, and presenter, as I mentioned earlier. She has a passion for learning. And 12 years ago, she gave up her job no, actually, that's wrong. Let me read that again. So she was working somewhere for 12 years, and she gave up her job in 2016 to continue with her education. She recently completed a 3-year degree and achieved the first class BSc Honours degree in Applied Science and Exercise Science. She's now continuing her studies and is embarking on another journey towards a master's degree in health psychology at Manchester Metropolitan University. However, she has achieved all this despite having dyslexia and dyspraxia, something that was picked up at university. Now, Keisha would never have known that she's got these 2 conditions if she hadn't returned to full-time education. She's passionate about helping others and will be focusing on creating more awareness of these conditions within the Black community, particularly. That's where her interest lies. Because I think after being diagnosed, she realized, hang on a minute, so Black people can have dyslexia, and she was actually really shocked. Because as a lot of people know, there's not enough representation for Black people or Asian or BAME group to do with dyslexia. So when she found out about this, she really wanted to help her community. Her eldest daughter also have dyspraxia. Recently, she was diagnosed at university. And the reason why Keisha's doing what she's doing is very close to her heart. She's a goodwill ambassador for Jamaica Dyslexia Association. She will be one of the speakers for Dyslexia Show in Birmingham in September 2020. She's determined to create more awareness, especially, like I said, in the Black community. And it's amazing to have her on the show. So I'm about to introduce the amazing and wonderful Keisha Swaby. Keisha, welcome to the show. So now the camera will move on to you. There you go. That was a lovely introduction about you. And we are so proud of all your achievement, everything that you've done. I have read your biography to our viewers, but I'd like you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Keisha Swaby and I live in Manchester. I've got 4 beautiful children. And as Liz was saying in the introduction, my journey into dyslexia started when looking into studying and went on to do my degree and now do my master's. So at the moment, I'm currently doing my master's and also working from home alongside being around my children. So that's me in a nutshell at the moment.
Right. So, Keisha, before we actually go into and dive into the questions, what made you want to go back to education?
Because when I was younger, I didn't have the opportunity because there's a lot of things that I was going through at the time that didn't allow me the opportunity to go to university at that time. So I took the route of going into the corporate world, and after being in there for a long time, I decided that the time was right for me to go and achieve my degree and to start my further studies. So I packed in the job, and that's what I did.
Right, just like myself. I just checked
Yeah,
mine in and never even thought, how am I going to feed my children? I just left. Yeah.
exactly. Just did it.
And I think at one point I left and I thought, oh, actually, how am I going to pay my bills? But
Yeah.
listen, at the time, it made sense to just do that. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that, by the way. You know,
Not at
find your
all.
feet first.
Not at all.
Find your feet first before you do that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about growing up with dyslexia, coming from a black community. What was
Okay.
it
So
like for you?
part of my life was in Jamaica because I grew up in Jamaica and I came when I was 14. So when I came at 14, things were different for me. However, in Jamaica, I was struggling with a lot of things like maths, understanding things in school, and in the Caribbean, there's not a lot of awareness about dyslexia. So no one would have ever even knew what I was struggling with and why I was struggling. So in the black community, it's something that's not a lot going on there when it comes to dyslexia. It's just now recently, but at that time when I was growing up, a lot wasn't like what it is now at all.
What was life like in Jamaica as a 14-year-old, you know, student?
Life, yeah, life was great, but I found that I really struggled with a lot of elements. Maths was a massive thing that I struggled with in school, and the education system was a lot different out there at the time. So not knowing your maths, you're gonna have to answer for it, you know. So I had all that to deal with as well, and trying to find my own self and understanding my own self as well.
Within the Jamaican community, can you talk freely about dyslexia? And do you get people that sort of encouraging you, or do you get some people say, "Well, actually, I don't believe in that," or whichever
It's
way it
quite
might be?
it's quite mixed because there are people who they don't understand it. So when you say to them, because for example, my parents, I got diagnosed last year it was. However, it's not something that I've discussed with my mom and dad to say because they don't really know what it is in Jamaica. Haven't got a clue, especially where I'm from there. So it's not something that's discussed enough, I would
Mm,
say, so that
mm.
other people can understand what it is. There's a lot more work to be done in regards to the awareness of it and the stigma and the myth that goes around dyslexia.
And I guess this is why you want to change that, and champion and obviously bring the awareness
Yes,
within your own community. Yeah.
definitely, definitely, because
Wonderful.
there's a lot of people in our own black community who I can clearly see that there's certain things by someone writing something or doing something, but however, because they've never been diagnosed and they don't know what the condition is themselves, they won't even know that they've got it. And if they do know that they've got it, some people, because of the stigma and the myth around it, some people won't own up to it as how they should. And dyslexia is the thing that should be owned. I just own it because that's who I am and that's a big part of me. So yeah,
And I guess going to university and being diagnosed with dyslexia has made you who you are today. If
definitely.
I can put it in a nutshell. Yeah.
That totally changed my life because picture this, I could have been stuck in the corporate world, staying there until I reach my pension age because I feel comfortable is my comfort zone. However, hadn't I decided to step out of that comfort zone and go on to the journey of studying, until today, I would not be diagnosed and I would not be able to own the blessing that I've been blessed with.
Yeah. What I tend to hear from a lot of people is that, oh, you got dyslexia when you went to uni. How did you do that? And
Yeah.
that's the bit I'm coming on to, because there's a special secret, isn't it? How we did that. And it's called
Yeah.
assistive technology. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Assistive technology. Also, as dyslexic, we develop our own our ways of coping massively because you'll relate to this. When I'm doing work, I highlight things red, yellow, all the colors so that I can keep track of things that I'm doing. So there are certain things that we do that we've developed over the years because we've had to. But now, when you are diagnosed, it's a massive blessing because you can get assistive technology, you can get the support that you need, you can get a support worker. So yeah, definitely,
Right.
definitely.
Which is why you're proud to say that, look, I'm a proud dyslexic, proud dyspraxic, and guess what? I can help you, if you need
Definitely,
that help. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Phenomenal. It's just so amazing. I did say to our viewers, today's show was going to be very different. We did get a message on Insta, and I think someone messaged to say, oh, how did you get first? How did you get
Okay,
first? Mm.
I'll go first.
Yes.
No money involved. Just put it out there first. But I think what the other thing is that had I known that I was dyslexic, maybe it would have come out more than the first, a lot more than the first, because I just didn't know. So I really I worked hard. I
Mm,
worked hard. That's the honest fact. I'm gonna be straight up with it.
mm,
I worked
mm,
hard because I had to work double harder than everybody else because I have to spend more time getting my head around things, questioning things, finding that out, being able to develop my search skills, the search for journals and all of that. But it wasn't something that I'm just a walk in the park. But it's so enjoyable to know that and satisfactory to know that you can go out there and do that as a dyslexic because everyone can.
yeah.
Everyone can.
So if there's a young person watching who's probably applying for a university place at the moment, what advice would you give them? And they may have a specific learning.
Without a shadow of a doubt, go for it. I can say to anyone, I said the same thing to my own daughter. She was questioning whether she should or shouldn't. Go for it. Definitely go for it because the achievement, when I achieve something,
Mm,
it's so much more special because I know that I've worked hard for it.
absolutely.
I can learn to appreciate that. Wow, little old me, and look what I've done, you know?
Mm,
So,
mm,
by all means, push yourself out your comfort zone and don't have that belief that you can't achieve it because anybody can. You
mm,
just have to
mm.
have that perseverance and that sort of cheek to go for it, really. Just go for it.
And I think that amazing feeling of knowing you've done it. I mean, when I graduated, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm able to throw this hat in the air. I've always wanted to do that.
Honestly, my picture, my graduation day, and I nearly didn't do my first graduation. I remember the same time I'd lost my granddad in Jamaica, and I said to my lecturer, I can't do this graduation, because there's a lot of costs involved. I'm flying out to Jamaica to my granddad's funeral. I can't do it. And he said to me, listen, just do the minimum package for your first graduation because I started from the bottom, Liz. I started from the
Mm,
bottom to up to
mm.
the top. So and I did it, and it was the best feeling. That feeling of walking across the stage is you can't explain it to anyone until you've done it yourself. You have to do it. You have to do it to find out.
Absolutely. And I think for me, it was like, if I can, my aim and ambition was, if I can do this, millions of dyslexic, particularly from the Black community, can do this.
Yeah.
I use myself as a role model,
Yes.
and I'm
Yeah.
sure you're the same. You look at yourself and you think, there's a reason and a purpose why we have to be given this opportunity to go to
Yeah.
uni to be able to succeed, successful. For that
Yeah.
reason, we're paving the way for other young Black children, or adults or mature students to be able to go out there and also say, look, I've done it. And I
Yeah.
did it because of,
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's amazing. But just before I move on to the next question, I think Marcia might have had a question come
Yeah.
up. And because we were talking, I couldn't really ask. I think it was university do a very good job at identifying learning difference and diagnosis for mature students.
Yeah.
Did you have to pay anything up front for your
No.
diagnosis?
My university was very good because I was on the last few weeks of my degree, so they were good to put it through for me. They did it all for me.
Wow. So you weren't diagnosed with the dyslexia till your third year.
Last few weeks. So I was leaving on in May,
Mm,
and it was the lady said to me, "I didn't know you're dyslexic." That was in April,
mm.
so I had to rush everything through, and then the university did everything for me to get me diagnosed before I leave because I was about to leave. So
So
yeah.
how did you manage Marcia? Oh, not Marcia, sorry. Got the names muddled up now.
All right, well, I feel like
Keisha. Marcia's the one asking the question. Keisha's the
yeah.
one on the show. How did you manage the first and second year of university as a dyslexic, dyspraxic, mature student, 4 children at the time, and obviously doing some kind of part-time work. How did you do that?
Right, I've got great support around me. That's first and foremost. My husband is amazing. We're both students at the moment, so we're both studying, and also my daughter as well is great support. So we work it between all of us, between her studies at university, his at college, and mine at university as well. So we're like a tag team where we organize things. Are you going anywhere today? Are you going? So it's all about organization and having that support around me. I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for my husband and my daughter to help me.
Oh, that is so amazing. So having a family support around you, it's
Yeah,
definitely a must. Yeah.
yeah,
But I
definitely.
mean, in terms of having dyslexia itself and not knowing and being at university for the first and second year and the third year until your last week, I just wanted you to just tell me a little bit about that journey, because I got diagnosed in my second year, but I know my first year, I was literally scraping like 40%, 35%, and I knew I was going to get third,
Okay.
scraping that. So I got diagnosed in my second year. That then bumped up a little bit of my marks. Then I came on to 50%. Then it was 60% for my completion of my
Mhm.
work. And then I scraped to 2-2. Now, for me, that was like, wow, I've done it. So I'm just wondering how you would have done that. How would you have done that?
Okay, so the first year, because I said to
Mm,
you when I said earlier on, I started from the bottom to the top.
mm.
So I started out with my foundation degree.
Oh, mhm.
Foundation degree, it wasn't as hard as going on to the full degree that I completed. So the foundation degree, I noticed a pattern. I noticed a pattern in regards to my grades, and that was in connection with, because it was a exercise based degree,
Ah,
certain things in the gym, taking instructions in the gym to be able to do my practicals. And my marks wasn't that great on that because a coordination to deal with that sort of thing, I really got. And then it was afterwards when I got diagnosed, finally, my lecturer said to me, I can see why you had those marks that you did when you did your practicals because of your dyslexia and dyspraxia that you've got. So that held me back in a lot of way. And I noticed my marks wasn't great in the first year.
mm,
However, I sort of like improved from the feedback that I got from each assignment. That's very
mm.
important, very key area. And what I did, I was very proactive as well in regards to sitting down after I've had my feedback. I would sit down with my lecturer and we'll go through areas of it where I fell down, where it's a bit, lacking in substance. So that's key as well. Don't just suffer in silence and think, okay, I've got 60, that's okay.
It's okay.
It,
Mm.
you can
You can get
always,
more than that, of
yeah,
course.
you can
Yeah.
always
Mm.
improve on that. So
Absolutely.
it's taking on board what other feedback and opinions that you can get on your work.
Right. And of course, there's practice coordination, isn't it? So, I mean, I
True.
know that I sign up to a yoga class. Everyone's going left and I'm going right. Everyone's going right and I'm going left. It was a complete shamble. And the yoga instructor was at your left arm and I'm doing the right arm.
Yeah.
So, how was that for you? Because you did a special degree with exercising and,
Mhm.
you know, challenging, I guess.
They anything to do with the practical side of my degree frightened the hell out of me. I'd panic. I'd get so anxious about it coming up, and I'd ask for help. However, there's certain elements of it on, like when I'm doing a proper assessment. If it was, for example, instructing someone in the gym, you have to be able to remember the instructions and be able to coordinate the movements and everything from my side because I've got to show them first as a practice and then they do it. So if I'm doing it wrong or I'm doing it upside down or something like that, those are the areas that have affected me big time.
Right. But you did it. You did it
Yeah,
because you had
did
to
it.
do it. Absolutely. That is just so amazing. Tell me a little bit about life as a dyslexic studying at uni with the assistive technology. How useful was that?
Well,
Which one? What's
honestly,
your package? Is it the Dragon? Is it
um,
Clara Reed? What's your
San-
package?
Sanocent, is it Sanocent? I
Yes,
think
yes.
I've
Yeah.
got Dragon as well. I, when I got the support and my laptop and everything, and I was able to take my laptop to my lectures and just put the laptop on top and on my desk and just find the presentation and everything is annotated for me was a life changer. A life changer. Make use of any supportive technology that they can give you, anything like that, because it'll make your life a lot easier. Just
Yeah.
learn how to do it.
Would you say to our viewers, ask, just go and ask if you need that help? Because a lot of
Yes.
people don't tend to go and ask, do they?
See, within universities, that's what I'm saying to anyone who's on here and you're thinking about doing it, but you're thinking that, no, I am dyslexic, can't do it. There are help and support within your university. There's a dedicated disability department that will help you. And if you go to them, they have another thing with my university. I don't know if this the same with across the UK. We have so much assistance and support for dyslexic students. It's absolutely, and on a whole, like learning skills, study skills and everything is there for us. So by all means, don't go and suffer in silence and thinking I'm ashamed of showing my work to someone, because that's a big thing, because we think that we've done it so badly that no one else would understand what we've done. By all means, that is you and that's who you are. It is
Yeah.
your gift, it's your blessing. Ask for help. Any work that you've done, don't be ashamed that you're dyslexic. Ask for help and ask for the support. Don't suffer in silence.
Yeah, I know how when I was diagnosed, and finally I had to come to terms with having this big word I couldn't spell called dyslexia, and another big word called dyspraxia that I couldn't spell to save my life. And then I thought, well, to me, it sounded like some kind of like a I can't even explain it to you. And
Yeah.
at first, I even said, well, what medication would I take for that? Because I didn't understand it. No one had ever spoken to me about this
That
condition.
that's a massive area of it is
Yeah,
understand is the understanding of it.
yeah,
Because
absolutely,
some people don't even know anything about dyslexia until they've been diagnosed with it.
absolutely,
That
absolutely.
was me. Yeah.
And I mean, when I said what medication, because I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what to expect. So when I finally got the help and the one-to-one and assisted technology and the sort of staying behind till late 24 hours in the library,
Yeah.
the tears that came with it, because we're not going to let our viewers think that it's smooth sailing. I
No,
shedded
no,
some tears.
no,
Yeah,
no. I've been in the corner rocking my husband, come and hold me and hug me. I, you can't, because we call each other Bobby. You can do this. You can do this. Come on, you can do this. I've been there. I'm not going to sit here and say that I clipped my fingers and I got a first. It didn't happen like that.
right.
There's sweats, traumas, there's a bit of tears, there's everything going on
Oh.
there. But it's so worth it.
Absolutely. I think, Leslie just left a message, and I think it might just come back in a minute. I think she was diagnosed at the age of 29. So,
Yeah.
Leslie O'Connor, I was diagnosed when I was 29 years young. She put 29 years young. I agree. 29 years is young, of course, as a police officer. So, I normally say to people that like some of our clients, or when I'm giving consultation to people, I know it doesn't matter what career you go into. You could be a judge, a lawyer, a surgeon, a solicitor, a doctor. Anyone can have dyslexia. And it's a clear example, Leslie, who was a police officer, who have dyslexia. So, no matter what profession you go into, the best thing to do is to ask for the help if you can,
The best
and then you
thing,
can excel.
yeah, best thing, own it.
Own
Because
it.
until you've owned it, you will not have the bravery to go and ask for the support. So you have to own
Absolutely.
it and recognize that this is who I am and there's nothing wrong with me. I am perfectly fine and I am intelligent as anybody else. So it's important to own it. And from there, you'll be able to see what you need as well. It's important to kind of identify what support you think you need, because we have got some amazing strengths. It's just to work on a little bit of weakness that we think that we may have.
Yeah.
So own it and then just get the advice and support. Definitely.
Absolutely. And I think that Leslie's last comment, I think she said she's now going back to uni, I think, to do
Yes,
a
she's doing
degree in
journalism.
journalism.
Yeah, I know Leslie well. We
Oh,
did you last week, and that's Leslie I mentioned
absolutely.
earlier on. Yeah.
Of course, you
Um,
said, yeah.
so she's now doing a degree in um journalism, and I'm encouraging her to go on to the masters. She's gonna kill it. I'm encouraging her to go on to do the masters as well, because the sky's the limit. Don't limit yourself
Absolutely.
and thinking that you can just. I'm just gonna stop at the degree. That was me at the time. I was thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna do my degree and then that's it. But I love learning, so I just thought carry on, might as
Yeah.
well.
I've met so many dyslexics, as much as we struggle, read, write, spell, memory retention, retain information, but we want to read, you
We
know?
love development. That's the thing with us.
Absolutely.
We love development, whether it's self-development or going academically. That's what we thrive on, and we absolutely just we excel. We excel. We do.
Absolutely. And Leslie left a comment earlier and she said, look, she's really inspired by yourself. And this is
Yeah.
why I normally say that a lot of the live shows we do, the idea is that we can hopefully inspire somebody to think, well, actually, if they can, I can, and the help is there. We
Yeah.
always say to people, look, you've got a question, email us. I mean, Keisha's on LinkedIn. You can always drop her a quick message,
Drop me a
find out
message.
how she did it,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's doable. And I've often said, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I don't come from inheritance, none of those things. The only key to my success was education. I've had a few people say, really? Some people don't have the education and have done well. Well, it wasn't that in my case.
No.
No. I had to do it this way to be able to.
Yeah.
So Marcia, it can be a roller coaster ride and really affect your social emotional well-being. Never give up. Well, when I went to university, to be honest with you, it was the most hardest thing I've ever had to do. I'm going to be honest. I cannot be on a live show and say to everybody, it was a doddle, it was great. It was the most difficult thing I'd ever had to do. I normally say I've given birth to 3 children. That was a doddle for me. I could do that easily. But going to uni was something else.
Yeah.
But I would do it 20 times over and over again.
Never doubt.
Absolutely, because the knowledge I acquired, the people I met at university, the great support there is out there that I would never have found out if I hadn't gone. It's just amazing, And following on from there has now become an A to I dyslexia, now supporting people with dyslexia, which is what you're going to do in the future, which is amazing.
I want to say to you though, Liz, I want to say thank you for all what you do in the community with all this work that you do, because like myself, I know your passion. I absolutely feel your passion. I know your passion. And I know that you just want to go out there and help others and make a difference and show them. It's all about showing others and being, that role model to say, look, you too can do it. You can look at us. If we can do it, you can do it.
And Leslie say, look, she's 54.
Oh,
and look, 54 and young.
see?
Yeah, just to say to the viewers, there's no age limit, by the way.
No age limit. No.
There's no age limit. I don't know whether there's a cap on a certain age, but I don't. As far as I know, when I was at uni, there was a 60-year-old in my class. Now, this was 2002. So I don't know if now there is a cap or not. I don't know. But if you're young and you're watching this program, this is your time. Do it now. If
do
you
it
can.
now.
Yeah,
do it now.
Absolutely.
I would be the eldest as well in my class.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Leslie, thank you so much for that comment, which moves me on to, I think we might have already even covered this. So we're talking about mature students returning to education. What message you have the individual dyslexic, dyspraxic, and other specific learning difficulty, anyone that's watching, what advice would you give them? You've probably covered some already, as in say, look, go for it, do it, and you're going to be great at it.
Definitely.
Is there anything that really worked for you? What really worked for you, Keisha?
Yeah, but developing yourself as well, because as you all know, doing a degree and a master's, there's a lot of, you have to have some self-discipline and have that discipline to be able to do your independent study away from university. Another thing that you need to really watch out for is procrastination. It's a big thing because we get overwhelmed with things. So we need to be able to plan in advance, and timing as well, and the perception of time and how long we've got to finish that assignment. That needs to be just be clear. Yes, Liz, you're laughing because I know. Yes, 11:59. Yeah. So have a strategy in regards to planning your work. it's important. Plan it into your work if you're going to, and have that work-life balance as well. Studying can become, it can overtake you. It really can, because you can get absorbed in it. So make sure you've got that balance where you're going out, you're seeing your friends, you're spending time with your family. You're giving yourself a break as well. You have to give yourself a break, because our attention span, as you know, is not very long. So ensure that you're taking regular breaks. I have to sit on my laptop and I might sit there for 20 minutes. I might have not written anything, but I'm going to take a break in a minute, because you need to take that break away so that your brain can refresh. Yeah, and also seeking support. Speak to your lecturer. Speak to the department that deals with special education. Don't suffer in silence. Never, ever, ever think that I'm on my own. Talk to others as well, and also to have a network of other dyslexics around you is quite important, because they understand. We all in the same boat. We all understand each other in a way. So have that network around you. It's priceless. It's priceless. Absolutely priceless. Having people like
Oh,
you, Liz,
oh,
you know,
thank you. Thank
mentally,
you.
there's so
Oh,
many of us, you know.
thank you, Keisha. That's awesome. Now, tell me about your skills and talents. Now, I know dyslexics are gifted in so many ways.
Yeah.
What is your special skills and talents that you have?
Well, my dream, as always, when I was growing up in Jamaica, I had a fascination with radio, and I was obsessed with finding out how is someone in the radio and I can't see them. So I got in trouble quite a lot when I was growing up in Jamaica for breaking my great granddad's radio, trying to find this person inside. So that was a dream that I had. And when I came to the UK, my journey started off with BBC Radio Manchester, and then from there it progress on from encouragement from others to get my own show, and here I am. So one of the main things is my massive strength is the media work, the communication side of things, you know, interviewing people, getting that story out there of what they've been up to, or highlighting the work that they've been doing in the community. That is my passion. And you know, helping others is always been a big thing, because as you know, us dyslexic, we have a lot of empathy. You
Mm,
know, we're driven by empathy, so we have a lot of empathy for people.
yeah.
So yeah, those are, yeah.
So maybe an aspiring sort of journalist who's going to be, what, TV one day, maybe?
Yeah, well, I've done I've done that one already. I've done that one already.
If there's any producers out there.
That was another dream that I had, and it came through in 2017 from Channel
Mm,
4. Yeah, so um, I just love that, and I also, because I've always studied in the field of health and psychology and all of that, I enjoy the work I do, and that I'm going to be doing around that as well, and my dyslexic. So I just want to go out there and inspire others, inspirational speak. I love doing
mm,
things like that, helping, you know, getting the word out there, because at the end of the day, right now, it's not about me anymore. It's
mm.
about those that are coming and those who are going through what I've gone through already. So it's never about me. It's about others that I can inspire and help.
Right.
Oh
Thank you
yeah.
so much for that, Keisha. Now, my next question I'm going to come on to, it's I recently did a research on particularly black men who
Hmm.
go to university, and 50% of black men who go to uni will drop out at some point.
Yeah.
So that was a Guardian research. I think it was done 20, I'm not too sure the exact date, but if you Google it, you find it, maybe 2015 sort of time. What message would you have for anyone who's watching right now who feels like, look, I just can't do this, I'm just going to give up? I'm not saying the 50% of black men were dyslexic, but there's a high rate of people dropping out of uni, particularly
Okay.
from our community. So what would you say? What message would you have for any individual dyslexic who feels like, actually, I'm going to give up. Can't do this. I've got to give up. What
No,
message?
no.
Mm,
The message is no, you don't give up. You don't give up, because you can do it. And as I go back to the point that earlier on, is about getting that support, identifying as well, because maybe from that study, people who were involved in that study, they have got an underlying um, learning difficulty or learning difference, which they don't know about. So they're frustrated, they're struggling, and they think that the best way to do it is to just give up. Giving up is not an option for us dyslexic, because the satisfaction that we get and the joy that we feel when we achieve all of this, because we've had to go a little bit extra to do it. So when we do it, we have to be very, very super proud. So don't give up at all. Go out there, get the help that you need, speak to other people, speak to the university that you're at, speak to the support department, speak to the lecturers, speak to anybody, but you look back and think, I shouldn't have given up. So don't have that regret. Go out there and just stick it out to the end. That's all I can say to you.
And the thing is, Keisha, you give up, then what? Because you give up, no matter where you go, dyslexia follows you. Yeah.
Exactly. What you're gonna do next time something become difficult in something else that is tried to do, you're gonna give up again. So you'll have just a track record of just not finishing and completing anything. So it's important to just carry on.
Exactly. And thank you so much for that. I mean, I know at one point, the back of my mind was like, I can't do this. But then it was like, do you know something? You have always been a quitter. You can't keep quitting. There's going to come to a time where you just have to face your demons, so to speak. So for me, it was like, I'm going to stick this out. And for sticking this out, it can be an inspiration to somebody one day.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I've had people say, oh my God, you went to uni and you've got dyslexia. Oh, okay, I've got dyslexia. It's so hard. And I went, it was hard for me too. But I never gave up on it, you know?
No.
Fantastic.
No.
So if anybody's joined us right now, we're talking about dyslexia and dyspraxia, or dyslexic, and Keisha's got dyslexia, and she's also dyspraxic. You see, I've got all that muddled up. But anyway, I think people have got got the gist of what I'm trying to say. If anybody's watching right now and you feel like maybe giving up, going to uni, or perhaps you feel because of COVID-19, studying's become a bit more of a challenge, and maybe, online studying has become a real, like a hurdle for you and you can't cope to deal with it, speak to the university. Like Keisha said, today's show is about Keisha going back to uni and how obtaining a degree, and now she's completed her master's, has completely changed her life. Now, tell me a bit more about that. How did it change your life?
It's changed my life where finally getting the diagnosis, I finally knew what it was that was going on. Eventually the penny dropped. So, when I found out, I was jumping for joy because I was like, finally, I can own what it is that's been going on. I know how to deal with it now. I know to go and do my research about what it is that's been holding me back, and all the things that you can identify with so much. When you read, whatever you read, as a dyslexic, there's always something that you can relate to with somebody else. So it changed my life where I got to finally own who I am and be the proud dyslexic that I am. Also, the opportunities, I've met amazing people on the course, great people that I'm going to keep friends with forever, made amazing friends on the masters as well. There's so much that you get as a person from going out there and carrying on doing your studies. It's super important. So for me, a lot of things have changed where I now have a more focus of where I want to go with whatever path I want to lead now. I've developed so many skills in regards to research, doing interventions. So I would never have gained any of that had I stayed in my corporate job, 9 to 5. The opportunities, the doors that have become open because of going forward and stepping out that comfort zone, is priceless.
Wow. And I could say the same. I would definitely 100% back you up on that. For me, it was a life-changing. It gave me the opportunity to be able to do what I'm doing now. I can't wait for a Monday to go to work. There's not many people out there who looks forward to a Monday, but I look forward to a Monday because I love my job. I love what I do because it's something that was a hindrance for me. Not knowing I had dyslexia, not knowing that there was something called dyslexia. All those things were such a big barrier for me.
Yeah.
Eventually knowing that, this is what it is, opened a brand new door completely.
Yeah, definitely.
And it has been such a life-changing. And I remember completing my degree and I said to myself, I will never step a foot in the classroom again. Well, I'm actually going back in October to do my master's. So it's like the more you say you don't want to do it, is the more you end up going back to do it. You get quite addicted to studying, don't you? Yeah. It's just
I miss
amazing.
it when I'm not studying. So I'm always reading books because I miss it. I
Yeah.
absolutely miss it. So journal articles, I'm always there. I might not understand it or remember any of it, but I'm studying it.
I think for me, by the time I finish reading everything, if you ask me an hour later, I can't remember. I said,
Remember?
well, I can't remember what I've read. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because I've read it. And one day I'll remember.
It's there somewhere. You know what? It's funny, it's quite surprising how we think that we don't absorb things, what we do,
Yeah.
because I absolutely prove that in lectures when we have like a recap
Mm,
and I'm able to answer all of the questions. I'm thinking, I'm sure I didn't remember what 2 minutes ago, but it's there somewhere. It's there.
somewhere. And I think for me, it's long term. I'll probably
Yeah,
remember it 2, 3 weeks later. But
yeah.
it's just the moment. I'm like, what did I read that? No, I can't remember reading it. But I mean, we've had a lovely Carissa who's said, look, really well done, ladies. She's proud of you, Keisha, for what you're doing.
I love Carissa. Love
Yep.
Carissa. She's
The
amazing.
work you're doing, it's
Marcy as
amazing.
well. And
Yeah.
Marcy's on here.
Yeah, and then we've got Leslie, very powerful, inspiring ladies. Just want to say thank you for everybody for watching. But before we go, I have a final question to ask you, Keisha, and it's more of a what message would you give to our young black children who maybe don't want to talk about dyslexia? I normally find out I go to colleges a lot to give talks. I find the age of about 16 to 18, 16 to about 18, they don't really want to talk about these things.
Okay.
And I think sometimes I find it a bit shameful. What
Okay.
message would you give to them? What advice would you give to anybody watching this program who
Yeah.
may feel ashamed about dyslexia or the young person? Yeah.
I've been saying it all the way through this interview, and it's all about owning it. You have to own it, and you've got to switch it around, switch the narrative around. Don't think that dyslexia is anything to be ashamed of. Think of it as your superpower. It's your superpower, it's your blessing, and it's your gift because you think so different from your friend who might be non dyslexic. You have that superpower, and the more you can tap into that and find your strength, it's important to find the things that you're passionate about, the things that you're interested in doing, because that's a lot of things. That's something that put a lot of people off. They're doing something that they're not passionate about,
Mm,
not interested about. So find that and honing on the fact that you are you got that superpower. Dyslexia is nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. You can go and shout it from the rooftop. Tell all your friends. I'm proud to tell people that I'm dyslexic because you
mm,
know that I know that my powers. I have that belief in yourself as well that not because I'm dyslexic, that is not a label for you to just say that, right, okay, it's a positive thing rather than a negative thing. Never ever see having dyslexia as a negative because that's where your self-esteem, your confidence, all of that will be affected by it, which we all have been through anyway. So if you're listening there and you're a young person, you're thinking that there's a stigma attached. My friend's gonna think that I'm stupid. No, tell your friend that you're super gifted and they need to go and read and research and find out about the dyslexic brain. So be proud of who you are. Don't ever, ever belittle yourself and thinking, oh, because I'm that, I can't do this. Never, ever, ever think that. Never.
absolutely. That's such an amazing advice. So, if you just joined us or if you've been watching the program from the beginning, we've been live on air for 45 minutes and we were talking about dyslexia, going back to university, how we completely changed Keisha's life. And she's giving some great tips there. You can contact Keisha on LinkedIn. Type in Keisha Swaby and she's on LinkedIn. She's also on Facebook. You can
Yeah,
contact her. One of Keisha's passion is to support the Black community with dyslexia. She's
yeah,
based in Manchester, so watch out, watch the space. She will
yeah.
be doing amazing things. And I just want to say, Keisha, we've got about a minute before the show ends, and I want to say thank you
Oh,
very much for your time. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for being such a great inspiration to so many people who are watching, who may watch later on. And thank you for going back to do your masters because you've encouraged me to go back. to do mine.
Oh, brilliant. That's what I love. I love that. Love being able to inspire somebody else to carry on. That's what I'm passionate about. Yes, Liz, and I'll say thank you as well. I've been absolute honor. You know, you're doing some great things in the community there, helping our people to understand and giving them the support and the advice and the guidance that they need, because this is what they need. Once people have the support and the advice and the guidance, everything is okay. It's all right.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Keisha, for joining us. I want to say thank you to our
you.
viewers. And next week, we have the lovely Sabrina Ben-Salmi, who will be joining us. Amazing lady who will be talking to us about dyslexia and social entrepreneur. So if you've got an idea and you think, okay, COVID, I've got no work, I don't know what I'm doing, I've been laid off, or I'm on furlough, whatever the reason may be, watch next week's show and you may just discover you're an inventor or you're a change maker. So thank you, Keisha. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody.
Alex. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. Thank you.
That's our amazing cameraman behind who put all this together. And we just want to say thank you. And thank you to Marcia, to Leslie, to Carissa, and anybody else who joined us this evening. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.